Welcome in. Just wrapping up a JV game here in front of us. Just a couple minutes left on that one here before we'll get you to tonight's main event. And we'll set the stage for it, and it's about everything you could hope for an Eastview team that comes into tonight, last home game of the regular season. Obviously, playoffs and everything may dictate. They may get a home game kind of that first round, and from there you're probably looking at a lot of neutral sites. May still be designated as the home team, but you will have no more home games after tonight, as Eastview takes on Weiss with a loss on Tuesday night. We were here for that. Here at the Patriot Dome against Hendrickson, Eastview falls with a loss and a Weiss win on Tuesday to that third place spot. And Eastview comes in now 6-4 in district. Now they do have a really good out-of-conference record, or overall record, I should say, of being 22-9 now, with a loss coming up that they had against Hendrickson. Weiss, on the other hand, been a little bit more middle of the pack in that regard. Scheduling some, pretty good out-of-conference teams, non-district teams, and really squaring off that they come in 17-16, just a game over 500. But 7-3 in district, and that's really the big deciding factor. So Hendrickson wins the district. They won that with a win on Tuesday night over Eastview here in the Patriot Dome. Nobody can really catch Hendrickson now. Perfect so far in district, and even if they were to lose out their last couple of district games, there's really nobody in the district who can contend with them. Your closest two teams would be this Weiss squad that we're going to come in and see here tonight, and Eastview. Those are really the two teams who would be the closest to competing with with Hendrickson for that district title. And, both of them are 3.5 games back of that. And there's only 2 games left in the regular season. Just can't catch up. So, what does that mean for tonight and for the remainder of the season if you're a fan of Eastview? Well, district title, not in the cards this season, and that's unfortunate as it is, and it's not what you want to have happen. But that doesn't mean it's the end of the season either. You still have playoffs, and so games like tonight and a win next week then become really important just in terms of the playoff seeding. Even with the win, you would go into next week needing to hold on, needing another win to just stay ahead. A win here tonight puts you about a half game ahead of Hendrickson. Both teams would go into next week being 7-4. Eastview goes across town. They'll play their crosstown rivals at Georgetown. Big game, especially considering that earlier this season, Georgetown came into this house, came into the Patriot Dome, had the win over Eastview, was a massive upset at that time. Would be not as much of an upset if Eastview were to go on the road and, beat Georgetown on the other side of town, but it would be an upset, and it would be very detrimental in terms of the playoff seeding for Eastview should they lose that game. Have to win tonight first, and you talk about it and you look at it, it's not necessarily traditional must-win games. A lot of coaches don't like that term, must-win, right? Every game is must-win if you talk to the right coach, right? You know it, I know it here at home. You guys, folks at home, have either tuned in, you have people in your family, it's why you're tuning in, you've heard them talk enough about it, you paid close enough attention. Some of you may just be fans, alumni, what have you. You've heard it in one form or fashion. The must-win cliche game, only about 35 seconds here in the game ahead of us. You hate the term must-win, right? Every game is a must-win. The most famous example this past week, I guess it'd be 2 weeks ago now, would be all the press conferences and the interviews leading up to Super Bowl weekend just this past Sunday. And somebody asked New England Patriots head coach Mike Vrabel, is Sunday's game, is the Super Bowl a must-win game for you? And Vrabel said, kind of what you would expect, right? Well, every game is a must-win when we go out and play because we want to, we want to win them all. You want to win all of your games. Not going to do that this season for Eastview. Certainly come close and may still get closer to that. If they were to win out, Eastview would finish with a 24-9 record overall on the season. They would finish would finish 8-3 in the district. That gets you pretty close, right? You don't win all of them, but you get pretty close to them. And the most important thing, and I think this team would tell you, a lot of coaches would tell you, it gets you in, right? It's your entry ticket into the postseason. And for a lot of teams at any level, as long as you can get in, right, then the season really just resets. And you look at things a little bit differently through a little bit of a different lens as we get you set up here. This game about to come to its conclusion. When you talk about and when you look at every level of sport, it doesn't matter what the sport is, right? We had this conversation around the Austin High area and in that district, and the whole conversation around the analogy I've come to use that I really enjoy, that I think just really makes the most sense, is if you look at playoff seeding and you look at playoff berths, they're really just a game of musical chairs, right? Throughout the course of the season, that music is playing, and as long as you do your part, you control your destiny, you win the games you need to win, you will have a seat when the music stops. Right now, Eastview has done their part enough. There will be a seat for them when the music stops next week. Now, winning tonight, winning next week, cross town against Georgetown, they can get a better seat. You can have a nicer seat, you can have a better seat, but you still have a seat irregardless of the results, in theory, of tonight or even next week. But you don't want to go out on a skid. You want to go into the postseason with some momentum. You want to go into the postseason feeling yourself, right? And feeling that you have built yourself up to a point that your guys going in as a team have confidence. A lot of the teams that go in, when you go in coming off a loss, sometimes it makes them hungry, right? You look back a couple of years ago, some of these teams that go into the postseason, it wakes them up, it ignites a fire, makes them hungry. Other teams, it doesn't do that. And for each coach and for each team, that's going to be unique. That situation is going to be unique. Whether a loss going into it is going to leave you feeling hungry, or if it's just going to rattle you and you're not going to quite perform, or it exposes maybe something too much that allows your opponent to utilize against you, whatever the case may be. It just really demonstrates a situation where you have to know your guys, you have to know how they're going to respond, you have to know how to get them up and get them ready to play. And those are the hallmarks of a good coach, right? Good coaches know how to get their guys coming out ready to play, ready to throw down, ready to, put up or shut up, ready to perform to the best of their ability on that given night. Some guys are going to have an off night. It's going to happen. We're going to, we may see it here tonight on both sides. Guys who traditionally perform a certain way may not perform in their normal facet. Guys who, on the other hand, perform maybe not at such a high level, maybe because of the way the night goes, they have opportunities. They perform then at a higher level above expectation. One of the best quotes or demonstrations you have for it, you can pull it up most likely on YouTube, is Bear Bryant, all-time head coach, long time for the University of Alabama. For those of you who may not know, he was one of the best at what we're talking about here. And one of those facets was the idea, it's a really good video. I encourage you to look for it. You can probably find it just by looking up, Bear Bryant 75-85. And the whole comment of, well, if you have a player who's a 75 ability, but through the coaching and the preparation and the work that they've put in, you go out on game day, you play above expectation, you play more like you have an 85 ability if you were to grade out of 100. And the other player doesn't, perform the same way, or they don't work the same way, they don't put in the same preparation, they maybe don't perform to that level. Good coaches know how to consistently get their guys to rise to a level, right? To get above and play outside themselves. You'll hear that said a lot. You be able to elevate your game to another level. Really good coaches have that capacity. Really good coaches know how to demonstrate and do that pretty regularly, pretty frequently, in fact. Two really good coaches, therefore, going to be on display here tonight. Coach Green, of course, on the Weiss side of things. Coach Toops for Eastview. Coach Toops, coming into the season, celebrate 300 wins, looking to do, at the very least, what they did last season, reach the semifinal stage. You want to get to a state title appearance and have that under your belt. Coach Green, I know Coach Green. We saw him. I saw him when I first kind of started doing this, really, and that was a few years ago when he was still at Taylor High School. And he was coaching on that floor at that time, at that stage, down at 4A a little bit. And, he had some really great talent there at Taylor, some really good players who worked really hard. He had some height, he had some speed. Just had some really all-around great talent. Not unlike what he has tonight, not unlike what Eastview has tonight. It shapes and it makes for really good competition. It makes for exciting games. And it makes for a really good setup to have, where you will have and you will see the chess match, right? Trying to isolate, trying to take advantage of certain situations. And it's a lot harder to do at this level. And I say that in the sense of there's a lot more depth that you get to pull from when you're at the high school level, as opposed to you get up to the college, get up to the NBA level, or the G League, which, I guess at this point, G League is almost like the UFL, but the UFL for football, for the NFL, doesn't produce much of anything too much. It's all a little bit weird. But it sets up this back and forth, creating matchups, right? Isolating. The one thing for Eastview tonight, after the Hendrickson game last week, on Tuesday, is there was a hard time getting shots open. And something that Hendrickson did in their backcourt really, really good was the way they were able to flush things down to the baseline. What I mean by that, you didn't get a lot of opportunities at the corners, and you didn't get a lot of opportunities from around the arc. Eastview really got put, Kane Hinderman Close was rendered largely just ineffective. He wasn't getting the shot opportunities that he's used to getting on Tuesday night against a really good Hendrickson team. Take nothing away from Hendrickson. But, Kane Hinderman Close didn't have a lot of shot opportunities. Had to go from really long range, or the way that Hendrickson was playing him, they were forcing him to have to flush down the baseline, forcing him inside the arc, forcing him down into the lane. That's not Kane Hinderman Close's game. That's not what he wants to do. That's not where he is, by measure, at his most effective as a playing style. really good from distance, really good as a sharpshooter from beyond the arc. And you didn't get a lot of the ball handling issues. Damani Jensen wasn't quite able to create the turnovers that he does. He is effective, him and Sanford both, at creating opportunities. A lot of steals, a lot of back and forth. Really good job at creating. And what ultimately ends up happening is when you struggle to create extra possessions, Robertson was doing everything he could from the rebound side of things, but when you struggle to create possessions, it just makes it a little bit harder to gain a foothold and to create leverage and to create traction, to build up something from that game. Sanford led the team in scoring, and I don't think there's a problem with that, but it essentially what Hendrickson was almost forcing it to do, and I think it just kind of goes against Coach Toop's style, but in what he asks of his team, of these players, it's almost like Hendrickson was trying to force somebody. It could have been Sanford, could have been Jackson, could have been Robertson, could have been Villegas, and Villegas didn't really get a lot of touches or opportunities either. But it's almost like Hendrickson on Tuesday night was trying to force somebody to take a game over. The way Hendrickson was playing, the fluidity, and they really kind of had, those three going. Longoria was getting, back down the court really a lot. Legend Samuel, getting a lot of opportunities. Harge was getting a lot of opportunities. And just kind of working within the framework of those three. Eastview just didn't really have quite some of that cohesion. And, there was some frustration, from Coach Toop, some issues from the performance side of things. All in all, I think Eastview just kind of had an off night. I don't think it was their night. I don't think things went the way they wanted it to go. And it just forced them into being bent and constricted down into playing Hendrickson's game. They just a little bit stiff, a little bit, pressure riding on it that night. For whatever reason, one reason or another, whatever the case may be. Now you come into tonight, as we've laid out, as we've discussed. Now I'll even pull up the standings for you here right now, give you guys at home just a peek of what we're talking about. Hendrickson leads the district. That's not going to change anytime soon. They were going to finish 27-6 as of right now. They're 11-0 in district. Weiss, 17-16. They're 7-3 here. In second place after the loss from Eastview on Tuesday night, who then drops to third, sitting at 6-4. Win tonight pulls you back even with Weiss, would put you a half game ahead at 7-4 apiece. You'd also get the tiebreaker due to being a better overall record, as Weiss would fall to being a 500 team overall. Eastview would improve to 23-9. And then you just kind of go down the stretch here. Pflugerville sitting in there in that 4-seed spot right now, 8-22 on the season, 5-6-0 in district. So they're not, not too far behind this Eastview team or even Weiss, but they would need some help. And with these two teams having to play each other, don't know that you're going to get it. Georgetown rounds out that 5-hold spot right now, sitting at 3-7. You think that, they have a snow shower's chance of moving their way up too far. You're about a game and a half, 2 games back of Pflugerville ahead of you, and you still have Eastview and Weiss ahead of you. Just kind of hard to see them making any measure of moving up. What they are in danger of, though, is Elgin is sitting right there just behind them, sitting at 11-17 on the season, 3-7 in the district. So really right there tied. Georgetown's got that tiebreaker over Elgin right now, but Elgin could very easily climb up and force Georgetown down into the basement. Can't get all the way down into the cellar, though, as unfortunately for Pflugerville Connolly, it's just been a season to forget. 1 win overall on the season, 1-29, 0-10 in district play this season. Not what Pflugerville Connolly wants. Still, really just feels like it's a young program here. You know, they had a lot of youth this season from when we saw Pflugerville Connolly earlier in the season. A lot of underclassmen coming up. Could be a really, really strong team once those freshmen and sophomore are able to get a little bit more experience. They're able to get a little bit more of that high school weight on them. You know, especially that freshman. A lot of freshmen on that team. A lot of opportunities there when you look at it through that lens and through that framework. Weiss coming in tonight. They're going to wear all gray uniforms. And, of course, Eastview will be wearing the white on whites. We'll take a quick break here for the national anthem.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, the introduction of the starting lineup for the visitors.
As we mentioned, Weiss in the all grays with a little bit of that red trim. It's kind of tricky, right? Both teams have that red, just a couple different shades of red if you're paying attention to the score box graphic that we've got going on here on the screen here. But Eastview, they're all whites and the red trim here tonight.
At guard, 6-foot junior, wearing number 4, Maddox Rock. At guard at 6'3", junior, wearing number 5, Adonis Wright. At guard, 5'10", sophomore, wearing number 11, Zion Purefoy. Assistant coaches, Greg Brown, Joshua Flores, and Juan Delgado. The head coach, Brandon Green. And now let's
remember Coach Green. He was a really good coach in his Taylor days. Took the Taylor Ducks to a couple of playoff appearances throughout the course of his time there. Taylor was there for a couple seasons before he ultimately left. Finds his way back to Weiss. Coach Toops, here in his 3rd season with Eastview. You know, Coach Green really only in his 2nd season over at Weiss. A lot going on, a lot to be excited about. But your starters here tonight, Caden Hinderman close, Damani Jackson, Isaiah Villegas. 6'5", Van Robertson. Cameron Sanford, your leading scorer from Tuesday night against Hendrickson, put up more than 22 on the Hawks by himself. Just needed a little bit of help and a little extra shot opportunities. So Coach Toops, he'll get to confer with his offense one more time, kind of get them set up ahead of a massive showdown here tonight. We get you started here. And very quickly after we get you started, we have to stop the clock. Already, Cameron Sanford with a shooting foul, just very quick out of the gate. So they'll send Zion Purefoy. He'll come to the line, he'll shoot 2. We're not even 5 seconds into this, and already got some free throw shooting going on from the charity stripe. And Purefoy misses both for the Wolves. Here comes Centerman close. Set up to Villegas, Sanford looking. Trying to set up. Villegas had a lane, was looking for Ben Robertson. And Robertson, it's not quite where Villegas was either expecting or hoping he would be. Sanford working against Adonis Wright earlier. And this one. A bit of a dead ball stoppage here. Purefoy against Imani Jackson. Sets up gun into the big 6'11" Landon Collins. There, the drive. Purefoy has Weiss on the board first. Nice soft touch layup coming on an angle. Purefoy matched up against Hinderman close. We dish it down to Villegas. Sanford from distance. And Cameron Sanford drains the early 3. One of the things against Hendrickson was that a lot of times in the backcourt, Eastview was committing 2 to 1 ball handler, and it left a lot of guys open the way it worked defensively. Tonight, Eastview just a little bit more disciplined in that regard, keeping it in a little more one-on-one situation. Maddox Ross had the bucket to put Weiss back out in front. Eastview right now trying to create some scoring of their own. Dish from Jackson to Sanford, and Sanford. Damani Jackson will not get credit with the assist, but Jackson helped to set Sanford up to draw the foul, and now Cameron Sanford an opportunity to at the very least tie it. The way he has performed from the freebie line, he has been shooting more than 80% on the season. Starts out 2 for 2 here tonight. Fast break opportunity, loose ball. Got poked free by Cameron Sanford. Adonis Wright able to scoop it up. Sanford, Robertson converge. And Robertson will be the guilty party. I'll send Wright to the line, and Robertson picks up his first foul of the night. Right, clean, smooth motion. Ties this up at 5. Right for the lead here. Just as smooth as the first. And that'll give Weiss an early 6-5 lead. Just a couple minutes into this one, Devontae Jackson trying to go down to Cameron Sanford. Working towards from the low post down, and it's an errant bounce pass. Wright was able to shake off Kane Hinderman close. Robertson, though, did a good job forcing Wright to have to contend. Villegas, though, last one to touch it. Ross stumbling away from Villegas, and does a nice job with the pass. A blocking foul. Coach Toops gets DeMarco Wingwood Jr. getting set up to come in. I believe that went on Robinson. Would be Robertson's second foul of the night. 3-point try is an errant one for Weiss. So next stoppage, we'll see Wingwood presumably come in for Robertson. Here's Sanford working against Adonis Wright. Sets a nice block for Hinderman close. Slashes, pulls up, and Caden Hinderman close. A nice mid-range jumper. It's an easy 10-footer there, and this one. Set up, little alley-oop for Landon Collins to finish the job. 4.5 minutes remaining here in the first. Villegas for three, and Isaiah Villegas. Able to deliver. Purefoy answers with one of his own. We've reached the back and forth stage here. This one popped up looking a little bit of hot potato down here. And this one bounces and rolls. And this comes to a stop. Back and forth pass, Sanford spinning. This one off the backboard. DeMarco Wingwood Jr. can't come up with it. It bounced around, and this one goes out of bounds. Sanford knocks down a three. 13-11. Eastview and Weiss continue their back and forth. A few threes have been exchanged here tonight. And Collins gets fouled on the way up. Cameron Sanford lined up against him. Fourth one of the first period here tonight for Eastview. goes through. Timeout taken. And it's taken here by Weiss. So they award it to 13-12. Mike Jackson gets his cane Hinderman close to Marco Wingwood Jr. All kinds of space to operate with. Sets up on the left side wing, comes across, and knocks this one down. From the high post, 15-12 here, inside 2 minutes. Double team corner look all alone. Bounce off the rim. Collins draws a foul. DeMarco Wingwood Jr. coming in trying to contest. That is the 5th foul committed tonight by the Patriots. I'll put Weiss in the bonus. Nearing the end of the first quarter, minute and a half remaining. 15-13 Patriots lead. And Jackson and Catelli reaching in, fighting for that. They get awarded the jump ball on it. Catelli in for Sanford. Wingwood Jr. came in for Van Robertson. Leaves Jackson, Villegas, and Kane Hinderman close on the floor. Hinderman close. Villegas was trying to give him some room. Hinderman close, slashes down, pulls up. Can't come out with a contested jumper. And now that's a filthy setback to set up and get space against Villegas. Just can't convert it. Miles Hardman. Not quite as clean as what Sanford did on Tuesday, but sure is up. There's Villegas. Tries his luck for the corner. And he'll convert a 3. 18-13, the score, and a put down. Adonis Wright pulls this within 3. Time ticking down still here. Nice bounce pass. Brandon Catelli with a layup off the glass. Push this lead back out to 5. And this will bring a stoppage here. Juan Shepard Jr. gets a come to the line. He'll shoot 2. Just about 9 ticks of the clock remaining here in the first. Shepard missed the first. Ashton Martinez will come in for DeMarco Wingwood Jr. They'll do some moving around. And reorganize here. Only 2 of the 5 starters out on the floor right now to wrap up this first quarter. Second one from Shepard. He's able to sink. So 20-16, Damani Jackson Nice move. Slash and kick out. Villegas' three is contested. Oh, good. And then he tried to bounce it. Off of Adonis Wright. Well, that'll take you into the end of the first. Eastview right now in control. Back and forth, exchanged a couple threes. And Eastview getting to cycle through their bench here a little bit. Just mixing it up, keeping it moving. We'll get you started here. Second period underway. And Purefoy to dish out the inbound pass. You're 5 on the floor right now for Eastview fans. Kane Hinderman close, Brandon Catelli, DeMarco Wingwood Jr., Damani Jackson. And Isaiah Villegas. Layup no good. Marco Wingwood Jr. able to collect the rebound. Chris Thompson, the senior, just couldn't get it up over the lip of the rim. Catelli in trouble, able to find Isaiah Villegas, who's matched up against Adonis Wright. Villegas goes back to Catelli. Catelli trying to set up. He runs into a wall. Had DeMarco Wingwood Jr., who slashes his way in, and Wingwood Jr. with a bucket to give Eastview a 6-point lead. That was a nice step to create space. Just unable to convert the three. Doesn't matter. Adonis Wright comes in off the rebound and cuts this back down to 4. Wingwood in a pinch of trouble there. Finds Kane Hinderman close. Slashes in trouble. And down he goes, was trying to go on the way out. They'll rule that a jump ball. I think Kane Hinderman close was hoping he could get a shooting foul, trying to argue that he was trying to go up. They will award it, though, the jump ball to Eastview. Off the inbound, Villegas trying to muscle his way through. And Villegas has the bucket, draws the foul. And so Isaiah Villegas will get to tack on the and one, or the opportunity to do so at least. Villegas delivers. 25-18 our score here, just inside 6.5 minutes to play here in the first half. Hinderman close. Defending. Villegas had a really good job. And a foul call against Villegas. Coach Green meeting with his troops. Having the conversation. Right. Unable to hit one. Jackson working against Thompson here. Nice behind the back, creates separation. Just can't come up with a jumper. And then Robertson there for the rebound, jump ball. Sanford still on the bench here, giving him a reprieve. (25-19). Our score is off the inbound. Here's Caden Hinderman close. Finds Wingwood. Bounce pass down to Villegas. Villegas from the top of the arc. Fadeaway jumper, and Isaiah Villegas. Able to push the lead out to 8. Two fouls apiece here for this Eastview team. Fortunately, neither one of them quite able to do too much from the free throw line. Cameron Sanford has had the most success of anybody so far tonight. Robertson with an outstanding block. Thompson will come off the floor here for Weiss. Out comes Hardman. And Donis Wright trying to come up there. And Eastview. Van Robertson able to draw the charge. Here's Caden Hinderman close to bring this across half court. Matched up against Purefoy right now. Purefoy poking and prodding at that one. And foul call there goes against Zion Purefoy. Donis Wright now matched up defending him. Comes off, gets it to Jackson. Eastview trying to create here from the baseline. Vegas overshot it. DeMarco Wingwood Jr. was there initially with the rebound before Collins just able to reach out with his advantage, pulls it away, and they will send DeMarco Wingwood Jr. to the line. As with that foul, puts Eastview in the bonus. Wingwood Jr. hits one, second one rattles in. And now whistles come in. There was some confusion, I guess, kind of a whistle stop there as something with the way Villegas exited out of the alignment. Sanford gets poised to come back into this one. Robertson picked up what is his third foul of the night. Give Weiss the opportunity to shoot two. 29-19 lead here. Brandon Willie, the junior. Missed the first, not the second. Cuts this lead for Eastview down to 9. Sanford comes in for Robertson, trying to keep him out of foul trouble. It's Damani Jackson trying with a little flourish and a little finesse. Can't quite come up with it. 4:20 remaining here. off the attempt. Kamani Jackson trying to kick it back or out while in midair and goes out of bounds. Jackson can't believe his luck. He comes off the floor. Catelli, Wingwood Jr. all in, as well as Villegas, Sanford, and Kane Hinderman close. And a travel violation. Goes against Adonis Wright. There comes Kane Hinderman close. They'll set up. Drew a double team initially, able to get away from it, working against Willie. He's in trouble. And Kane Hinderman close with a travel. Kept getting turned around, was trying to find some kind of help. By the time Villegas was able to come free and into his line of sight, it was too late. 3.5 minutes ago here in the second period, 29-20, the score here from the Patriot Dome. Eastview leading. Weiss on the march. Here's Collins. Kick out. 3 on the way. Off the block. Inbound here, Collins will make the inbound pass. They go to Collins down here, matchup against Villegas. He stands nearly a foot over Isaiah Villegas. Just unable to come up with a mid-range. Here's Wingwood Jr. slashing, weaving. Unable to come up with much there. (29-22) now the score, and Cameron Sanford draws a foul now. Was 2 for 2 earlier. He'll come to the line and try to maintain and do so yet again. Wingwood Jr. will come off the floor now. Brandon Easley will take his place. Sanford hit his first. This will keep him perfect on the night so far from the freebie line. 31-22, Eastview leading. Inside 2.5 minutes, here's Adonis Wright for 3. Just off the mark, a little bit too much, comes off the glass. As Kane Hinderman close, finds Villegas, back to close. Trying to set up, nearing this 2-minute mark here in this one. Still a 9-point lead. Easily, suddenly finds himself with it. Sets up, almost testing the reaction from Weiss, and then Kane Hinderman close. Finds a way. Mid-air, moving forward, and able to just put one up. And down it comes, 11-point lead now. Adonis Wright slams it down. Sanford forcing his way back. Here's Villegas, contested shot opportunity. Same for Sanford. Sanford wrestles away the rebound. And Cameron Sanford off the glass, re-extends. Now down to a minute. Hinderman close, able to deflect that pass for Collins. Here's Catelli. Trying to set up, finds Villegas. Villegas pulls up. Can't get it to go, but there's Sanford working the boards. Just unable to come up with a putback. Here's a three. And Catelli, the rebound. Time dwindling. Kane Hinderman close, gets bodied. Almost like it's the Olympics. Not checked. Of course, those collisions are usually a little bit more violent than that. It's almost more of a chest bump there. Just knocks Hinderman close off his line, sends him to the line to shoot a pair, and hits the first. Sanford will come off the floor now. Jackson returns to it. 0-5 on the floor right now for Eastview. Brandon Easley, Isaiah Villegas, Brandon Catelli, Damani Jackson, and Caden Hinderman close, who goes perfect from the line. 37-24, 13-point lead. Time dwindling here in the first period, inside of 30 seconds. Oh, confusion. Coach Toops directing his backcourt here. Easily swiping. And up comes the bucket. It should do it for the period. Jackson pulls back, kick out. The buzzer beater from Isaiah Villegas. Just short off the front of the rim. So with that, after a 20-point first quarter for Eastview, they come out, they put up 17. Weiss put up 16 in the first. They come out here in the second, they put up 10. Your score going into the break, 37-26. Eastview out in front of Weiss. A lot of back and forth early on, especially in that first period, especially down the stretch, but Eastview really has just set it up and just been able to find ways to create. And it's come in a few different facets. It helps when Weiss, especially in that second period, very quickly finds themselves into foul trouble, puts Eastview in that bonus situation. So anytime you get the foul there committed by Weiss, Eastview gets to shoot a couple free throws for it. It just sets up and it just creates just a lot more extra opportunities when you have that. You have Sanford shooting as well as he is. I think the one interesting story note so far, though, as we talk about through lines here going in to the second half, is the way Robertson's going to be managed. Already 3 fouls in that first half. Really, Coach Toops being proactive with that, pulling him out a few different times just to keep him out of foul trouble there. DeMarco Wingwood Jr., Brandon Catelli able to really come in and be of great service to make up for it. Sanford at one point had gotten up to 2 fouls in the first. Had to take him off the floor, keep him from getting into trouble, get him cooled down a little bit. So you found, Coach Toops really kind of having to go into the bench a little bit more here tonight. We've seen Catelli, we've seen Easley, we've seen Wingwood Jr., we saw Martinez. So you've really gotten, we've seen as many as 4 different members of this bench come onto the floor at one time here tonight for Eastview. He's had to lean into a little bit just because of the foul situation early, having to navigate that, having to maneuver that in the way that he has. They really haven't lost anything production-wise on the backcourt side of things. The front court here, Isaiah Villegas has really kind of started to come on here, especially in that second period, really starting to create. Kane Hinderman close, finding his rhythm, and really, unlike last Tuesday when Hendrickson was in town, Kane Hinderman close just kind of seemed to struggle a little bit with some of the physicality, struggled down near the baseline, not having that same problem here tonight. Eastview and Kane Hinderman close have done a really good job of just embracing it and attacking and being on the attack in the way they approach that aggressiveness here tonight. We'll take a quick break. Be back in about 7 minutes for the start of the third. You're watching the Vype Live Network, your home for Eastview basketball. Welcome back in. Here on the Vype Live Network, David Roy here in the broadcast booth with you as always. We get you set up here. Start of the third. Early bucket here from Weiss in this third period of play. 37-28 the score here. And Purefoy being told he was the last one to touch it. Then they have a discussion of officiating. They changed course. Weiss was last to touch it, so you reset. A little clarification there between the nearest line judge and the official who had the better angle on it. 9-point game, excuse me. Right here between Eastview and Weiss. Nice kick out here. Adonis Wright, nowhere to go. This one bounced off into Collins' hands. And Damani Jackson finds Isaiah Villegas. Villegas! Off the assist from Jackson. Able to connect with a layup. 39-28 Eastview. On pace right now to push close to 70 the way the first half went. And Sanford here collects a rebound. Vegas feeling himself from long distance. Can't hit it. That one off the hands of Collins, and it should be Weiss opportunity here as it bounced off Landon Collins' hands. Coach Toops frustrated. They're off the inbound here. Back this around, that ball came loose. Purefoy, not sure if he slipped or just lost his footing. Maybe got tangled up. Either way, Weiss fortunate. Able to hold on. Adonis Wright trying to get it up and over Van Robertson. Cannot do so. And here's Sanford. Sidesteps Adonis Wright. Has it taken away. Foul call there. Another quick stoppage. Sanford to inbound here. Comes up. Damani Jackson from on the arc. And an Eastview foul. So 3 fouls for both, between the two teams, just in rapid succession right there. I mean, we're talking about within 5 seconds of each other, it feels like. Thompson finds his way to Hardiman. And Thompson missed. Sanford smart enough, great awareness to be aware of where he is in relation to the baseline before he collects. As Damani Jackson with a putback here. 41-28, up to a 13-point lead here now for Eastview. Weiss having a tough time getting their shots to land here tonight. Just struggling to create, and another takeaway, fast break opportunity. Here's Anderman close. Soft touch, but it is high on the glass. And Damani Jackson maybe twisted himself up in the process. 43-28, we stop it here. Jackson most likely to get some time on the bench. Timeout taken, second one of the night for this Weiss squad. (43-28) 4:41. Here to play in the third. Damani Jackson, not sure if he cramped or maybe got stepped on. He's back out on the floor either way, though, so love to see that. Good for him. Nothing serious, obviously, and that's always a good sign. Miles Hardman right now brings this down. Nothing doing here. Caden Henderman close off the rebound from Robertson. Brings this cross half court. Henderman close. Working against Maddox Ross. A little back and forth between Damani Jackson and Isaiah Villegas. Villegas can't hit the three. Sanford is there with a rebound. And Sanford gets fouled trying for the layup off the rebound. So Sanford here to shoot two. It's 5 for 5 here from the line here tonight so far. Sanford to try and uphold that. Goes 5 of 6. As Robertson comes over. He'll commit a foul of his own. It's your foul count for those of you at home keeping score. 3 for Weiss here tonight, 2 for Eastview. As Brandon Collins comes up with a bucket. This cuts the lead down to 14. Down inside 4 minutes. Cameron Sanford answers with a layup. (46-30) our score here. The drive, the reset, popped free to Damani Jackson. Weaving his way across the court. Kicks it way out. Caden Henderman close from long range. Off the front of the rim. And now here's Max Ross. Kicks it out to Harmon. Comes back. 3 from the top of the key. Deflected. Tegan Trice trying for long distance there. It's unable to knock it down. Weiss is going to need a few of those threes as Caden Henderman close, excuse me. His layup doesn't go, doesn't draw the foul either, which I think he was hoping for, as Collins is almost getting dared to shoot it. And then Hardman got left alone. Tries to throw this in. Wingwood Jr. have it bounce off him, and Coach Toops comes over. It's a few directives. declared. Kick out. Corner three being set up, then driving in. And a blocking call against Damani Jackson. Be Eastview's third foul of the period. Here in this one, I'll bring Chris Thompson to the line. He'll shoot 2. First one. Thompson able to put through pretty cleanly. Second one on the way. Knocks that one down 2. Cuts this lead back to 14. Here's Damani Jackson. Eastview being patient here. They'd have a lot of time to tick off. Not sure they'd be comfortable with just sitting with this. And Jackson, the dish, Wingwood gets mauled there in the low post between Collins and Trice. Stops the clock there at 2:18 here in the period. Sanford goes up top for Villegas. Villegas kick out, can't Hinderman close. Pauses, comes to the wing. Sanford for 3. Unable. And then Wingwood Jr. trying to come up with a rebound, just pops it past the baseline as well. Thompson back to Hardman. Hardman working against Damani Jackson. Gets a nice pick set by Collins, trying to create space, just unable to come up with it. And Villegas gets in trouble. Trice creates the foul. 4th already here in the period. Time ticking down. Kane Hinderman close, looking, goes to Sanford. And yet another foul. So another period. Now, not quite as early as what it was in the second, but still just another situation where Eastview finds themselves, thanks to Weiss, in the bonus. So pretty good situation here for Weiss is Cameron Sanford. From the line, gives you a 47-32 lead. And a shot missed. Here's Sanford off the rebound. Cameron Sanford kicks this, Wingwood fakes, and the double dribble. Picked it up, stopped, started dribbling, stopped again, started up again, and DeMarco Wingwood Jr. now has to come out. Off the violation, Catelli takes the floor in his stead. Hardman created some space from Damani Jackson, tries the 3 from the wing, and it comes up well off target. So here's Caden Hinderman close to Damani Jackson, to Cameron Sanford. Sanford against Hardman, trying to create. Gets in a little bit of trouble. Has a safety valve there, and Damani Jackson next to him. Down inside a minute. Jackson weaving. Damani Jackson gets into a bit of trouble. Coach Toops. Frustrated with the situation they found themselves in here. Thompson moving this around. Hardman from the corner. It's the 3. .12 game. This lead for Eastview is dwindled as Hinderman close. loops around, hits the layup, and push this back out to 14. Time ticking down here. Oh, back and forth. Hardman for the buzzer beater. Knocks it down. What a three from Hardman. I'll cut this lead to 11. As we take you into the end of the third. Eastview trying to hold on to an 11-point lead and pick up the win that would push them back into the second place spot in the district. Weiss fighting to hold on to it. Have a half-game lead on Eastview for that second place spot. 7-3 in the district with a 17-16 overall record. Eastview 6-4 in district, 22-9 on the season. Start of the fourth. 3 timeouts remain for Coach Green of Weiss. Eastview has yet to put a hand on any of theirs. As we are underway here for this fourth and final period of Eastview's last home game of the regular season. Again, with playoff seeding, depending on how the tonight finishes and next week goes, could have one here, depends on who they draw next week. Vegas's fadeaway jumper comes up short. Sanford finally kicks it out to Hinderman close. And Cameron Sanford, a little fake, collects his own rebound. And on the putback effort, doesn't get that to land either. So still holding an 11-point lead, thanks to Miles Hardman hitting the buzzer beater 3 to end the third. Time ticking away. Hardman goes for 3 again. Contested 3 with Catelli in his grill. And Hardman drains it anyways. Cuts this down now to 8. Jackson spinning. Fouled on the way up. And Amani Jackson will now come to the line. He'll shoot 2. First foul of the period for Weiss. Two fouls now. After that, it creates a technical. And so now Catelli will come off the floor. Wingwood Jr. comes on. It's Wingwood Jr., Isaiah Villegas, Cameron Sanford, Caden Hinderman close, and Amani Jackson, who all alone, all by himself, misses the first. Second one on the way. Knocks it down. Now Caden Hinderman close comes up. He'll get to shoot. Hinderman close. Hits his. Caden Hinderman close. Does it again. 52-41. So the technical and then the three between Caden Hinderman close and Damani Jackson. The points they score push it back to an 11-point lead for Eastview, and then a timeout taken by Coach Toops. So a little bit of a unique situation there. Five on the floor right now here for Weiss, though, as we come out of the break. Maddox Ross, Adonis Wright, Tegan Trice, Miles Hardman, and Chris Thompson. That's a five for Weiss on the floor right now. For Eastview, Cameron Sanford, Caden Hinderman close, Isaiah Villegas, Damani Jackson, and DeMarco Wingwood Jr. Robertson having to be managed a little bit due to a few fouls he's picked up and incurred here tonight. Jackson trying to split the gap. Able to get up to the basket, but just can't get it up and over the rim as Trice misses. Couple putback efforts. Those missed two. Wingwood Jr. missed, and then Sanford trying to go up and defend. And DeMarco Wingwood Jr. went up and pulled it down, but he took a hard hit off the floor. As when he came down, ball was in hand, landed flat on his back. And that back of his head just kind of hits the floor. As Sanford wrestling in trouble, jump ball as Adonis Wright, Tegan Trice just converge upon him. After Sanford came up with it. So off the jump ball. Three on the way from Hardman. DeMarco Wingwood Jr. with a foul. And that'll lead to an opportunity here for Hardman to shoot three and cut this gap back down to 8. He's already now just cut it to 10. Second one, it goes through. Robertson will now come onto the floor for DeMarco Wingwood Jr. And then Hardman's third try does not hit. Villegas. Oh, it's Adonis Wright who picks up the foul. And now some stoppage, some discussion. Okay, and Willie trying to come in now for Adonis Wright. All kinds of confusion a little bit here tonight. There's been a few stoppages, some whistles, some overall confusion. Sanford Weiss in a little bit of desperation mode. They've cut this lead to 9, trying to be aggressive in their approach. All gas, no brakes right now. And the pass from Hinderman close to Robertson. Robertson just ends up bouncing it off his fingertips and into the Eastview bench. And so right now Ross matched up against Damani Jackson. They'll try to get a pick. Robertson comes over. Willie able to hit this and draws the and one. Robertson, who was in foul trouble earlier, just keeps finding himself in it, and now Brandon Catelli will take his place. And so that'll leave Catelli, Sanford, Villegas, Damani Jackson, and Hinderman close on the floor as Willie for the end one. That rattles through. And now all of a sudden, Weiss has pulled within 6. And a timeout taken by Weiss. They'll have 2 remaining. .535 to play here in this one. Remaining in regulation, 6-point lead, Eastview out in front. Sanford to Villegas. Sanford now. A little start and stop. And Willie came over. He had the foul. So 52-46 still. 5:32 remaining. And Hinderman close. Finally, they kind of call off the full court press here. Hinderman close, matched up against Hardman. Eastview trying to chew up some clock while trying to find a way to put a couple more points on the board. Have to get out, just try and keep this from being a lead that Weiss can come back from a couple weeks ago here on the same floor. Georgetown, despite trailing for the better part of the game, was able to work their way back as Catelli, off the pass, kind of took a hit to the side of the head. And now Catelli will come to the line. He'll shoot 2. And once again, Weiss. So Weiss tonight, really every period in some form or fashion ends up putting Eastview into that bonus situation. It's sort of been a hallmark of some of Coach Green's teams. Saw him at Taylor. They could get into foul trouble. And it's natural. Like, it happens. It's not, you because of the aggressive style of play, it's what happens. And you lend yourself to a few more fouls, but you're willing to do that in the service of creating opportunities, forcing mistakes, kind of wearing down your opponent and forcing them to try and match your physicality. As Willie kicks this out, Damani Jackson stumbling against Thompson. Thompson able to turn his way in and comes up with it. 8-point lead, though, for Eastview as Sanford forces his way down the lane and comes up with a bucket to push this back out to 10. 56-46, Eastview leaning over the Wolves. Ross to Willie. Matched up against Jackson. Now Trice. Weiss has got to find a way to create some opportunities here. Now, they had some success. They were, Hardman on the range was having a lot of success there. Eastview, it seems, has switched that up and has kept Hinderman close against him. Your sharpshooter matched up against maybe one of the best range players, this time against Thompson, and it doesn't matter. Thompson delivers. Hardman not currently on the floor. Chris Thompson has been. The official stops for a towel to come out all the way at the other end of the floor. Not sure what prompted it. There was a stoppage, there was some outcries, maybe some outrage. I'm not quite sure. But in either case, brief stoppage there. Inside 3.5 minutes now. Eastview with Sanford against Vawan Shepard. Kick out. Hinderman close, got left alone. 3 from the wing. Off the mark. And Amani Jackson trying to bounce it off Maddox Ross to say it was still viable, and it's done quite good to work in his favor. They'll roll it. And Weiss is saying that he was out of bounds before he did that. Donis Wright, reach in there, Henderman close. Swiping, they'll award the foul though to Isaiah Villegas. Third foul tonight here in this period for Eastview. Only the second for Villegas here tonight. Catelli working against Willie. And Willie gets fouled on the way out by Brandon Catelli. So Catelli picks up a foul now. And Eastview a slim lead. Only a 7-point game now inside. Second free throw. Willie missed the first. Oh no, he made both. I apologize. Missed the first make. So that cuts this lead to 5 here for Eastview. Sanford and company trying to find a way to hold on. And Coach Toops takes a timeout. Burns that with 2:36 to play in regulation. Trying to reorganize and rearrange his troops here. On a night where Eastview has been, for in large part, control of the game here tonight. And again, show you, for those of you just tuning in, what's at stake here tonight. Your district standings. Hendrickson, they've won the district. There's nobody in the district who can compete, who can get close, who can challenge for that district title. It is solely Hendrickson's. They earned that on Tuesday with a win over Eastview here on the floor. Weiss right now holding second place, but they're only a half game ahead. Eastview would have the tiebreaker. They would have swept the series with the win here tonight. Not only that, they would have the better overall record and improve to being a 7-4, which would match Weiss in district. An opportunity for Eastview to pull ahead again on Tuesday next week as they travel across town to take on Georgetown. So Eastview right now fighting for that second place spot over Weiss. Better playoff seeding if you can do that. Kane Hinderman close. Looks, finds Damani Jackson as the Patriots tried to salt away the clock. Really good interior here of this backcourt for Weiss. Sanford kicks out corner. Catelli comes back across the floor. There's no shot clock here at the high school level for those of you at home who may be wondering, like, man, don't they have to take a shot at some point? Oh, no, not quite. There's none at this level, and the foul call here, Adonis Wright commits it, and there's a little confusion here. Coach Toops talking with the official. It's Kane Hinderman close, though, who gets sent to the line. If you're Weiss, that's maybe not who you'd like to have there. Weiss, one of the better shooters, just pure shooters on this team, does really well from distance, any distance really. And shows off that just a smooth, fluid shooting motion. Knows his marks. He continues to excel, and You know, sometimes from three, I mean, he gets some long threes. Sometimes they don't work out. There's some, difficult shots that he has to try and make, but you put him at the line, more often than not, he's going to knock it down as Trice with a massive three to cut this lead to 4. 1:43 remaining in regulation. And a stoppage here, timeout taken. Not sure who they've awarded this to. Finally, they update this. And so Weiss will have one timeout remaining. 58-54, 1 minute 43 remains in regulation. Eastview leads only by 4 now. At one point, the Patriots led by as much as 16. That lead has since significantly diminished. And now the Patriots are fighting to stay ahead for a second place spot. You know, saying if you're not first, you're last, but I think Eastview and I think fans, you at home, as Patriot fans and alumni, you'd settle for being second in the district as a decent consolation prize, especially if it leads to a better playoff bracket seating in your behalf, in your favor. That can lead you to having maybe a little bit of an easier run to a deep playoff run. Hinderman close, and Sanford able to get this out of trouble. Imani Jackson, though, in danger. Whistles come in, and we have a stoppage here with 1:33 remaining in regulation. Damani Jackson will come to the line. He'll shoot 2. That's not a bad foul if you're Weiss, considering some of the foul or free throw troubles that Damani Jackson's had just here tonight. We'll see if he can shake them off here. Does the first. Second one on the way to push this back out to 6. Jackson off the rim. 5-point game, and another foul call. Well, now they're going to walk this down. There's some confusion from Villegas and company. It seems like this is a foul. And it goes against Eastview, and that now puts Weiss into the bonus. So, double bonus. One to either side. And Maddox Ross hits his first to cut this to 4. This to make it a 3-point game. Off the back of the rim. Can't get a land. Willie collects a rebound. And a double dribble call. Coach Green can't believe it. He's trying to plead his case. Hinderman close for the inbound. It goes to DeMarco Wingwood Jr. There's a foul call. And so now it's just a violation. I think it just took them too long to get in. 5-second violation. It's not a foul. Just a violation call. Does not lead to Weiss getting to shoot some free throw opportunities here, but it does give them possession. Willie working against Catelli. I think it's a great no call. Catelli was all ball there, but there is a call here. And this goes against, can't tell if they went that against Trice. I believe they did. Might have been against LaJuan Shepard. Brandon Catelli comes off the floor. Brandon easily takes his place. Damani Jackson will come to the line. He'll shoot 2. 1:13 remaining in regulation, 59-55. The lead here for Eastview. Damani Jackson pushed it back to 5. Jackson misses on the second. Goes 1 for 2 from the line. This holds at a 5-point game. Weiss only has 1 timeout remaining as we're down now to a minute in regulation. Tries, spins, hits the layup. Now it is only a 3-point game inside a minute of regulation. Here from the Patriot Dome, Jackson in trouble, trying to get out of it. And a timeout taken. Comes at the 46-second mark, 46.8 to be exact. Eastview calls a timeout. Coach Toops, smart decision there. Saw Damani Jackson in trouble, gets the timeout in to bail him out. And a tight contested game right now. Second place in the district on the line. A win by Weiss would push them to 8-3 on the season. It would in district, and it would drop Eastview to 6-5 in district play. Would slot Weiss into that second place spot. They would get to hold on to it going into the playoffs. One would think that would slot Eastview in for that third place spot. Although if they were to go in on a skid, if Pflugerville were to able to come up with a couple wins, might be able to turn that table just a tad. Point being, there's a scenario where Eastview could fall to as far as 4th in district and finish there, depending on how this ends. Hinderman close in trouble, tries to bounce it off Willie, and then it skips out of bounds. It's put in play. Damani Jackson speeding down the left side, in trouble, kicks this to Hinderman close. He's got to try and salt away about 30 seconds. Hinderman close, drawing a double team, drawing a triple team, he's in trouble. Coach Toops saying, what are we doing? Not calling this here, all over my guy. And now you're having a conversation. .28 seconds, they're having a long discussion about this situation. This would be a huge call at this stage. The official comes down kind of talking at Coach Green here. Not sure what that language was or what was discussed and what the nature of that discourse may have been. Damani Jackson lost the ball. Maddox Ross, time draining. The layup doesn't go. Sanford, DeMarco Wingwood Jr. with a rebound. Clock stops with 14.6. Timeout taken, Eastview now burns their penultimate timeout. Both the Patriots and the Wolves have one remaining. 3-point game. Was a close game the last time these two squads met. Take you back, all the way back January 20th. Eastview won that one 65-51. Much closer game here tonight. Sanford got into trouble and then draws a foul. And so he'll come to the line. He'll shoot two. A huge opportunity here for Cameron Sanford. Would turn this if he can continue on the stretch that he did to start from the charity stripe, to take this from being a 3-point game to a 5-point game. First one on the way. Sanford knocks it down. Second one on the way. Sanford goes 2 for 2 from the line. Time ticking down. And they'll stop the clock here. 1.8. On the clock. After the bucket, it's 3-point game. They'll reset the clock. They'll add 0.4 to it. So you're technically left with 2 seconds on the clock. And Weiss has used their final timeout. Down by 3. Caden Hinderman close to do the inbound. It's huge size advantage against Collins. There's Sanford. And controversy as Cameron Sanford was standing out of bounds, and Coach Green and the Weiss fans cannot believe it. Outrage and controversy. But time has expired. There were no whistles, no indicators, aside from the fans in attendance. And those final 2 seconds burned away, and Eastview comes up with a win. Weiss fans feel that it might have been stolen of them. And Eastview will finish with the win here tonight. And that should put them back into second place. Patriots will improve to 23-9 on the season. Weiss will fall to 7-4 in district and fall to 500 overall. So we'll pull up district standings for you now, reflecting tonight's game. Eastview moves up. One would think, anyways, Weiss will drop a spot. They'll change hands. And now it really boils down to next week at Georgetown. So Weiss will be in a situation they're going to need a little bit of help from Georgetown fans, and then Weiss will have to take care of business on their part, on their floor next week. On the other side of things, though, Eastview controls that second place spot now. It is their firm control. Take care of business, beat your crosstown rival next week. You can go into the playoffs on a 2-game run, so to speak. You'll have won 2 in a row, and we'll have an opportunity then to go into a better situation with the bracket sitting at that 2 spot here on the district, and an opportunity there to really put together a strong playoff run. You'd be able to put together a strong playoff run even if you finish 3rd, even if you finish 4th in the district. The problem of it is, because of seeding purposes, you start facing maybe less than ideal competition. If you get that 2 spot, it really changes that dynamic a little bit going into the playoffs with the seeding because of it. So a lot at stake, still a lot of drama to be had. This, though, is our final broadcast of the regular season at the very least here from the Patriot Dome as we conclude our regular season, our home broadcast here for you as a result. Hope you've enjoyed it as much as we have, being here in the stadium, calling it for you all season long. Next season, who knows, if you like us, if you like hearing me, not me trying to boast, but if you enjoy what we've brought to the table here from the broadcast standpoint, let Eastview know. Ask them to bring us back. We can maybe expand this again going into next season. Maybe we'll bring you more than just the home games. We can bring you, maybe some of the road games as well. But on the whole, it's been for the regular season. And again, still have a game to go. Still have to go and play Georgetown next week. But on the whole, as the season has worn on, this team has really started to gel. And it's not, there's some teams, even at this level, where it's like the early days of LeBron James at the Cleveland Cavaliers, where doesn't necessarily have a lot of help, has some guys who you may not know about, but there's that one guy who can just take a game over. And it's not that Eastview doesn't have that. Sanford has shown that he can do that from time to time. Donnie Jackson has shown that he's capable of that in his own right at times. Villegas has gotten hot. Kane Hinderman close, especially, has done that at different times. But they're not reliant upon it. You can have that and it can be interchangeable, but it's not as reliant as other teams might be, either at the stage or what have you. So it really just boils down to next week. Huge game on the road. Crosstown, as on the road as you can be when you're going across town to face your heated rival. And that will be on Tuesday night. Tip-off, I believe, will be at 7. Maybe it gets pushed back to 8. I know that you guys, that we treat the rivalry games just a little bit different. But that'll do it for us on behalf of the entirety of the Vype Live Network. I'm David Roy signing off here from the Patriot Dome. We'll see you in the playoffs.